In this short video, we want to introduce how to switch CE certification to Chinese registration of medical device and in vitro diagnostic in our agenda. We start with a briefing. Due to different registration legislative, it is always to change the mindset to a new market. So we explain the most important Chinese legislative of medical device and in vitro diagnostic from MDR view. Then we compare certification process in Chinese and European market. Then we dip to critical level of registration as product classification, technical documentation, plus time and cost, which is deciding for the pre-market analysis. We begin with Europe. European Union with 27 member states issues the law medical device regulation starting in 2017. In fact, the notified bodies, as independent organization certificate the manufacturer whether to comply with MDR. In China, the authority is National Medical Products Administration, NMPA, who is making law, and its suborganization is proving technical documentation of overseas manufacturer and issuing certificate. The CE certificate per se is unexpired if no significant change of medical device happens. In contrast, the Chinese certificate of Class 2 and 3 MD is only 5 years valid. For both markets, as foreign manufacturer, you need an authorized representative. In China, it is called Chinese agent who is submitting technical documentation to authority and acts as liaison to foreign manufacturer. Chinese agent has more responsibility than authorized representative in EU, however less liability for product in the market. The foundation of medical device is legislative in each market. In EU, MDR takes direct effect of member states without domestic legislation and all foreign manufacturers besides 27 European countries. In this regulation, all requirements of medical device, including for notified body, are stipulated in 10 chapters and 17 annexes. The Medical Device Coordination Group, MDCG, an expert group, endorses some guidances focusing on key topics supporting MDR. There are fewer publications in terms of best practice from notified body, which is directly certificating manufacturers. Till now, there is no product-specific guidance in EU as in US requesting speciality for safety and effectiveness of product. In China, the highest law is State Council Ordinance 739 in 2021. There are 8 chapters which generally stipulate the regulation of medical device. There are supporting orders guiding classification, clinical evaluation, post-market surveillance, and technical documentation, etc. Besides State Council Ordinance 739, there are updates of general and product-specific standards and guidances every week. The authority so-called Chinese Medical Device Evaluation proves technical documentation of all classes of foreign manufacturer for all products manufactured outside China. The final goal of regulatory affairs is not only to improve the quality and safety of medical device, but also to receive certificates in each market to make safety of product on patient possible. The certification process between Chinese and European markets is quite different. Firstly, is notified body in EU responsible to assure conformity of medical device made by manufacturer. In China is authority direct, named Chinese Medical Device Evaluation. Notified body in EU has a 3-year certification cycle, typically on-site at manufacturer examining quality management. Parallel, depending on classes of medical device, sampling of technical documentation for Class 2A and 2B is reviewed. The certification is called Declaration of Conformity, signed by manufacturers, and does not expire. What happened upon significant changes of products, it is so far relative and transparent how to get TOGO by each notified body. Let us limit the certification process on foreign manufacturers in China. Usually it is sufficient to submit ISO 13485 certificate. There are 3 types of registration mainly, initial, change registration and renewal. Because the Chinese certificate stamped by Chinese authority is only 5 years valid, manufacturer has to renew certificate every 5 years. Upon significant changes of products, manufacturer has to start a change registration by submitting a solid technical file. Compared to EU, where 4 classifications exist, there are 3 classes of medical device in China. Behind classification, it hides the extent of technical documentation. The higher the classification is, the more complex is developing and approving medical device. Very similar, there is simple filing system without complex review process in both markets for Class 1 medical device. The difference is in China, you still have to submit a mini technical file. How to classify medical device in Europe and China? There are 22 classification rules under MDR in EU. In China, there is a system of product code like in US. The intended use is deciding to match product code with 6 digits. Finding product code out, the classification is automatically determined. Here we go, the core part: what authority or notified body reviews at registration, technical documentation. Compliant to requirement, the authority should prove based on submitted technical documentation that products meet safety and efficiency requirement. By the way, in China for registration of Class 2 and 3 medical device, you need pass a local testing. In EU, the applicable regulation of TD is Annex 2 at MDR. Fewer notified body or team NB has suggesting guidance of TD. Depending on notified body, still the structure of TD is often voluntary and decided by manufacturer. In China, it is aligning on International Medical Device Regulators Forum, IMDRF, with specialized guidance providing the exact requirements and folder structure of technical documentation. All manufacturers have to fill each document in corresponding subchapter under main 6 chapters. Clinical evidence is also quite challenging, however risk-based controlled in China. Less MD needs clinical trial. More and more of MD needs just a simplified clinical evaluation. There is no need for Class 1 in term of clinical evaluation even. Now you should have a general impression about Chinese registration of medical device. The missing strategic part is time and cost, which play also a great role choosing an attractive market. Here in the table is fixed authority fee in China. Class 2 MD amounts up to 26.5 thousand euro and Class 3 MD 38.9 thousand euro for initial registration. For change registration is for both types of registration around 5,000 euro. Besides MDR certification cost, who dares to say how much is it to prove one typical Class 2 or 3 MD in EU? It is unpredictable, also due to many rounds of deficiency reply. Just recently, there is a movement with MDCG guidance to make list standard fees in 2023. Regarding the time to get a product approved in both market is quite difficult to compare. The real time of market product is made of preparation of technical file, review of submission by authority, and reply time by manufacturer. So we skip the first and third time to analysis, which is ticked at manufacturer. In China, the review time by authority is 153 working days for Class 2 MD and 183 working days for Class 3 MD. 20 working days are 1 month. The authority set every year new records to reduce review days than official allowed. What about the review day by notified body? It is hard to say now and in the future. Perhaps it is time to look at regulated review time in the other market. Contact us if you need support of Chinese registration based on European technical documentation. Ask us any question in free consulting. Follow our blog, newsletter, LinkedIn, and YouTube with newest regulation in China and global. Do you want to get more knowledge? Register our MyCompliance e-learning. At MyCompliance e-learning, using the free supervisor, you can exchange for case study and even clear your regulatory trouble in field every time. The online course is mainly for Chinese registration. The special session is international registration and soft skills, where you open a new horizon of beloved regulatory task. Feel free to have a chat so we know your level and expectation, and we will have a tailored lesson schedule.